Okay, this is a buck that we killed this morning, deer we call Browser, and I'm making this video so people that hunt out of state will know how to measure the deer and cape a deer out, legally transporting it across state lines. First thing you want to do, sew and tape measure, inside corner of the eye, tip of the nose, which is 7.5 inches. That gives me a face measurement for your taxidermist. Next measurement you're going to get the smallest part of the neck, right behind the ears, under the jawline, pulling it, just putting a little pressure on it. That puts us at 20 inches, okay? So that's the only two measurements that your taxidermist is gonna need to order the mannequin for any mount you're wanting to do. Now I actually skinned this deer out, as you can tell. We're gonna do a life-size mount on him, full body, but for caping it out in the field when you harvest the deer, this is an X-Acto knife. Pick it up at any hobby type store, Hobby Lobby, craft store. I've got a T11 blade, which is a double-sided blade. It's just what I prefer. They stay sharp longer. You can use both sides. First thing you want to do, here's my neck meat. So I'm going to drop back behind that neck meat 2 to 3 inches. You can see kind of the dark line that goes up the back of the head. I'm going to get right below that, puncture the skin with the tip of the blade, and go right up the center of the back of the neck. I know you've probably seen videos where they go all the way down the back of his neck. That requires a lot of sewing. Most taxidermists are going to charge you extra for that. Don't do it. When you do sew it up, it looks like a mohawk down the back of your deer. Now, even though it's against the wall, you still don't need it there. Make the smallest incision you have to do, which is right below the neck meat. You go up the back of the head, you get in line with the ears, and you stop. I'm right in line with the ears. That puts me about 3 inches from the base of each horn. From there, I'm going to make a cut going toward the back of the left antler. Then I will make a cut going to the back of the right antler. This is what we call a Y incision. It's the easiest to do and the easiest for your taxidermist to hide the incision once it's sewed up. So I've gone all the way to the base of both antlers, right to the back of the antlers. Now,
show me that. Show me that.
Just like you can see, you're up to the back, the base of each antler in the back, and it forms a Y. Now you're basically just skinning the head out like you would skin the body. It's just a skinning process. You want to take your time and not cut holes in the skin. Every hole you cut is a hole that has to be repaired. So just take your time, be careful. You'll see me going pretty fast. I do hundreds a year. Don't get in a hurry, do it right. Now, as I skin this down the side of the neck, working toward the face, you can see where I just cut through the ear butt. This is the ear canal. Okay, cut it off as close to the head as possible. Then I'm going to take the corner of this knife and cutting in an upward position, never cut downward. Cutting in an upward position around the base of the antler, always going up, keeping the point of my knife toward the skull, never toward the skin, always toward the skull. That way if you slip, you're not going to cut the hide. And then just keep pulling this down the side of the neck and the side of the face, working that around. Now, you can come over to the center. This is the flap of the Y incision that we made. Same thing, I'll get it started off of the base of the antler, always still cutting in an upward position. Sometimes when you get it started, you can actually pull on it a little bit and it'll pull loose a little at a time. Do this part very slowly. Just work around the base of the antlers, still cutting in an upward position toward the base of the antler. And you can see, I've cleanly removed that from the base of the antler without cutting the skin. Now we're going to duplicate that on this other side. Get the skin going down the side of the neck, side of the head. Once I get working on this second side, sometimes it's easier to flip the deer over, set him like that. Now gravity is going to pull the skin down. It's very simple for one person to do this. And if you're slow, taking your time, you can see here, we just went through the earbud again. There's the ear canal. Cut it off close to the head. Work it slowly as I'm pulling. Work it around the base of the antler, cutting toward the antler, not toward the skin. Never point your knife toward the skin. That way if it slips, you do not cut the skin. That little knife is not going to cut the bone, so keep it pointed toward the bone. This is under the deer's neck. You want to pull this down, just like skinning his body, working around his head, just like you would work around the body as you're pulling the skin down. Work it evenly from top to bottom. These little knives work extremely well. You could probably cape out 2 or 3 deer with a single blade. Work it down from underneath. And now what we got is to finish out from around the other base, cutting in an upward position. Now, I've detached that side. Now what we're fixing to get to is a very critical part of caping a deer, and that's the eyes. You get to the orbital socket, which is the bone that surrounds the eye socket. You can see it's a circular bone here. It protrudes out from the skull. It's called the orbital socket. We want to pull the skin, and I'm cutting down, as you can see, on that socket. What that's doing is releasing the eyelid, the inner part of the eyelid, from the socket. Now, I'm going to pull the skin outwards as I do that. Your taxidermist needs all of the skin. Now, when you get it pulled away about halfway, you can see the socket here. Stick your finger in the eye socket. Now you can see my finger inside here, okay? That allows me to pull all of the eyelid from the inside, and you can see I'm removing it right next to the eyeball itself. So I've taken all of the eyelid skin and kept it. I left none on the eye. I have it all on the skin so I can cut off later what I don't need. Take the point of your blade. As soon as you get past the eye, you're going to get to the tear duct. Take the point of your blade, do this slowly. There's an indentation right there where the tear duct is. So pull the skin with your hand and pull it away as you're cutting into that little divot and get all of the tear duct without cutting the hole in the tear duct. Flip over. We'll do the same thing on the other side. I'm using the blade to cut down on the orbital socket that releases the eyelid. Stick my finger in the eye socket. Continue to pull away until I'm right next to the eyeball again. Now I'm removing all of the eyelid with the skin, not leaving it on the skull. Get past the eye. You're going to find the dip. Use the point of your knife to get down in the dip and take out all of the tear duct with the skin without cutting holes in the tear duct. Any holes you make have to be fixed by the taxidermist, or sometimes may not be able to be fixed. Just depends on the damage that you do. You know, we as taxidermists are not magicians. We're professional, but we can only work with what you bring us. Coming on down the nose now, I'll set my head back that way so I can work the bottom jaw, and I'll just work it down. I've opened the back lip. I took it off right at the teeth, and I'm going to keep all of the lips, even though I don't use them, I'm going to keep them on the skin. Always bring your taxidermist more than he's going to need. When you skin it out from the carcass, ring it. Most people ring the skin around right behind the front shoulders. Ring it closer to the hindquarters. That way the taxidermist always has more than he needs. You're not going to go in here and pick out a mount that you're not going to be able to do because you didn't bring him enough skin. Okay, I've skinned the jaw down to almost his chin. I'll pull the chin, the bottom lip down, and expose the bottom teeth. Right up next to the teeth, I'm going to start removing that skin, and I'm going to come down to the sides, and I will actually meet where I've already skinned on the inside and just carry it right around. The bottom lip is disconnected. Roll this over his head. Now, all you have left exposed is the top. Cut right at the jawline. Come down both sides. You'll cut right down the jawline, leaving as much of the inside of the lip as you possibly can. Come up the nose a little bit. Now, what I'll do is I'll take my knife and I'm going to go straight in the nose, which is cartilage. Cut straight through the cartilage. When you get to the back of the cartilage, start going in an upward position. Be real careful not to cut through the skin. And you have skin out your whitetail head. This is perfectly legal to transport. Take your saw, cut him across here and across the back. Meet the two right here below the antler. The front's going to go straight down. The back's going to come to it. You remove that, take the brain matter out. You can legally transport that again across any state line. That's how you skin out a deer head.